So I wanted to bring up something that we've talked a little bit about here. You've alluded to, but that is the FBI opening up a file on Jim Morrison, and I think that happened in late 1967 when he was arrested on stage in New Haven, Connecticut, in the middle of a show. Do I have that right?
Yeah, Jim Morrison. That was a very notorious moment. I believe, and I've read this in several places, it's the first time a rock star had ever been arrested on stage. And that's actually an interesting part of Oliver Stone's movie. Kind of gets it right. He plays it close to the actual circumstances. Morrison's arrested on stage, and I really think that the FBI started watching Morrison and many other popular entertainers because they were afraid of the spark of somebody like Morrison being a catalyst to a riot that then creates something so much larger. If you think that is an era of riots, like we think, how does the mid to late 60s relate to now? Well, look at the mid to late 60s and then look at everything that happened in our kind of post George Floyd racial awakening. And it's very similar. The FBI, the authorities were very afraid of somebody like Jim Morrison because he had outsized power and he clearly wanted to use that power to open people's minds. And the FBI at that time, and I'm not going to speak about, I don't know enough about the FBI now, but certainly the FBI then had a concerted idea that people who stuck their head up, it's like whack-a-mole, needed to be stopped. And so they began watching Morrison. There were people watching Morrison all the time throughout the last 3 or 4 years of his life.
So he was under surveillance, under FBI surveillance.
He was.
And you've read
Yes.
the FBI file. You've obtained the file and read it?
Yes. Yeah. You could read it. Just type in Jim Morrison FBI file. It's the FBI, interestingly, had to release all this stuff at one point, but then has since released it now because it's been so long. But you can read J. Edgar Hoover's response. I wrote one thing down. Somebody wrote into him, and then J. Edgar Hoover said about the Doors and this punk band in the report as well, that they were, quote, repulsive to right-thinking people and, quote, have a serious effects on our young people. And so when you put that in context, and what we've learned about J. Edgar Hoover makes this so insane, so wacky, that they really were afraid of a person or a rock band or celebrities inciting something that they couldn't control. That would become a nationwide thing. Like it wouldn't be stuck, just like the LA riots, where it would just be in one city, or things that were happening in terms of race and anti-Vietnam. They were afraid of a mass movement, and they deemed Morrison dangerous enough